Hey everybody, it's me, Rob Anderson. Tonight we have a very difficult creator talk to talk about. I have a creator who had an experience that I felt needed to be talked about, but it's going to be difficult. There's going to be language that can be very upsetting. And it's something that I didn't want to talk about, but felt we had to talk about. And it's not my story to tell. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on the creator himself. Go ahead, creator.
Hello, my name is Varian Grant. I'm the publisher of Last Call Comics, co-founder of Last Call Comics. I've been involved in indie comics to some extent since 2008. Uh, Probably a little bit before then, but I don't want to date myself too much. But yeah, that's pretty much my claim there is the Last Call Comics.
So, what brings us here today? What happened?
Uh, well, a situation occurred at a con, which, again, I want to add to your point that I too have been dreading this interview for a while. But again, this conversation we need to have at my hometown convention, which is Moto City Comic Con, a convention that I love doing. I, a toy vendor, and myself, we met back in 2016. In fact, we were introduced by a mutual friend who put us together and asked for me to assist him with selling his toys, helping him set up at the show. I really can't assist any vendor, because how Artist Alley is set up. I'm in the back, he's up front somewhere. And we end up having fallen out, and he accused me of a lot of things that I did not do. In 2017, 2016, he called me the N-word, which at that point, I will admit to becoming so enraged that I really wanted to fight him. I left the convention looking for him. I couldn't find him. I walked back into the convention and I calmed down.
Now, is there a big reason that it was so upsetting to you at that moment?
In 2016, that happened at Wizard World. It was because I had drove this guy's stuff all across the like from Michigan to Chicago, and I had paid a lot of my own money to help him get his stuff. There he had never did a convention outside of Michigan, and that word just irks me. You say it, and it's like, why are you calling me this? And you're using Nigger because you want to upset me, you want to demean me, and it really did upset me. I thought he was a friend of mine, I really did, and I thought we were fast becoming friends, I should say it that way. I stopped shortly after that associating with him, and a couple other things came to light about him shortly after that through other people that knew him, and they're like, oh man, you should not hang around that guy, he's horrible. And I found out that I took a big legal risk even taking his toys across state lines with him, because there was some legal reasons he shouldn't have been doing that with the toys. I don't want to go too far into that because how that goes. But we in 2017 at Motor City Comic Con had my son with me, and I'm coming in to set up. I'm going to find my table, and he's walking out just as I'm coming in, and he gets in my face, and he's calling me names. I don't really hear the N-word in 2017, but he's in my face. He's calling me asshole and a punk bitch and all of this, and I'm like, get away from me. And I had my son with me. At the time, my son must have been 6, because he's 7 now, so he was 6, and he's calling me, all kinds of names, and I walked away. That year, whenever he seen me, punk, bitch, motherfucker, excuse my language, but I mean, you're giving a warning. So, I go in the bathroom. He comes back from motherfucker, and it's like, I tried to have a conversation with him. I tried to explain to him, this is what you think I did that I did not do. And, I've tried to reveal to him who the real culprit is. And he doesn't want to hear about that. But this year, the reason why we're here is because I'm walking into Moto City Comic Con 2018 setup, which is Thursday. It's about I want to say about 5 or so o'clock, between 5 and 6 o'clock. And I come up with another artist. And my son was really upset. He wanted to go, but I told him no because I honestly did not know if Dale would be there. This is the way I have to do things now when I go to that con. Is this guy going to be there? Is he going to try to create a problem for me and my family? Because I know that he's going to go off when he sees me. So I walk into the convention, and honestly, so much stuff is set up already. I'm thinking, well, it's so late in the day. Everybody who's had to set up, they're pretty much set up and left, except for artists. And we're always the last ones to set up. And I hear across the hall, Varian's an asshole. Now, Rob, you go to Comic Cons, sometimes that's the way we greet each other. Hey, asshole. Hey, I turn around to look and see what it was, and it's Dale. Now, I'm by myself at this point. My wife isn't there. My son isn't there, thankfully. The artist that I came with is over taking care of his business and pretty far away. Dale walks over to me. Now, he's got his mother and her partner with him. And he walks up to me, and he's bumping his stomach into me. Like he's trying to get me to fight. And I'm like, get away from me, whatever. And I'm just trying to get away from me. And he calls me the N-word at least 4 times. I was pretty shocked because, 2016 Wizard World, when he called me that, and I told people he called me that, they didn't believe me. In fact, I've heard reasons of, that's not in his character. He doesn't do that. He wouldn't have said that. He's saying he didn't say it. And I know he said it in 2016. That's what really upset me. That's why I was ready to fight him then. So the fact that here we are 2018, he's calling me this, I'm like, I'm going to get him to stop. I take out my cell phone. There's no way he's going to say it on camera, I'm thinking to myself. And without hesitation, he said it 3 more times on camera.
And we have that footage.
Yeah.
I want to just show it once. Sure. I don't want it to be something that we show any more than it has to be shown. I'm going to go ahead and show it right now so people know exactly how deplorable this action is. Mm-hmm. So we're going to play it just this once. I apologize for having to make you sit through it again.
It's fine. I've prepared myself.
So here is the footage that I don't want to switch over our camera so everyone can see in YouTube what we're talking about. So this is an undoctored camera right out in the middle of the argument. And this is why we have to have this conversation today.
Say it again in my face, what you just said. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Your stuff is over there. You walked all the way over here. I'm walking down this aisle.
Look at this party.
This guy take yourself off.
22.
Whatever. Bro. 22. Say that shit again. Call me the N-word. Y'all not beautiful. What? Oh, for real? Okay. All right. It's on the vein. Don't be surprised.
All right. So now, obviously, he knows he's being filmed and takes zero care about the fact that he's saying this word, and it's an ugly word, and no care. It's not even angry. He's doing it now just to spite you, just to hurt you. So there's no argument here. That I didn't hear you say anything. I didn't hear you call him a cracker or anything like that. He's bumping your chest. I don't see, as a person, like off camera, I have to ask the question, was there anything that you could have said to make that word? I don't think there's a word that you could have said that made it okay for him to say it, but I'll ask the question. Did you say anything to incite that moment?
No, I had just walked into the convention, and I'll be honest with you, there are 2 artists that were there. I know them by I know they're all at some of the shows. I could down. They would say, you know, this guy just came over full tilt, ready to throw down. And, you know, as hurtful as that footage is to watch, I'm kind of happy that I have it, because now it's, to me, people get to see that, you know, I wasn't lying in 2016 when I said he said it, you know. Now you have 2018 footage where it's clear he said it, you know, and I've already heard some excuses from people as to why he, you know, uses language. One of my favorite ones was that, oh, he didn't know what he was doing, and he knew enough to whisper it. You know, if you're looking at it, he lowers his tone
and he smiles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is like a psychotic moment for me, is that he's smiling because it knows it's going to harm you. And to, like, you had told me this story and I was heartbreaking enough. When I saw this video, I almost wished I was there. And it's a bad feeling to wish I was there, because what's the one thing we can't do in this moment as creators? We can't start that fight, can we?
No. You're pretty much like, and I kept thinking to myself, you hear me in the video, I'm losing my temper again, but he's in the video. I said, you know, say it again, I'll punch you in the, you know, effing mouth. And I really don't. I don't follow through on the threat. Because I knew where I was at. I knew where I was at, and I knew that if I hit him, you know, there would be an issue. Because no matter what, you know, he can call me all the things he wants, but I take it to that level of physicality. Now I'm being arrested, you know, and probably banned from the con for you know, all my days. So,
and I want everyone to realize this. We're talking about a space within a con that we all sign a contract of anti-harassment. Matter of fact, speaking of that contract, we actually have it up. Here is the official Motor City Comic Con anti-harassment policy. And I want everyone to start reading it while we continue this conversation, because I want to I want to go on with the story, because it doesn't end there. What happens next?
I went over to my friend I came with to the show with, and I showed him the video, and he was shocked as I was. And he said, take that to, you know, security and let them know. Take that to the, you know, registration. Let them see that video while he's setting up, so they can tell him, nope, stop setting up, get out. And you know, the artist I'm with, he's white as well, so he was just as upset. And I went to registration, and I showed them the video. They brought over another gentleman who, I'm not even sure if I should name names, but they brought over another gentleman who he looked at the video. He, you know, told me that he couldn't believe what he had saw, and you know, if it was up to him, he said he would have yanked him that minute, but he needed to talk to the promoter first, and the promoter of the show was not available.
But hold on, I have to ask, why couldn't he yank him? What was his reason? I mean, I'm reading the policy here, and that's clearly against it. What did he say?
I believe there is, and well, okay, I mean, I know that's an anti-harassment policy, but I believe that there is a kind of unspoken rule before you toss out a dealer of toys or other high-end areas. I'll go ahead and say it. They lose a lot of money to toss that guy out. I'm thinking they might have to refund this money. So I think that the fear was we could lose. I forget how much those spaces are. They might be between $1,200 $2,000 for that particular space. They toss this guy out. They got a big open space there now, and they've got they got to refund that money possibly. So, and I'm just a guy back in Artist Alley with a table that cost him $425. I was told that the promoter would be informed overnight, and they would have news for me in the morning.
Wait a minute. Why wasn't the promoter there? Isn't this the first day of the show?
It was set up. I was told that he was not well and not able to make it to the show, to the setup that day.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'm a fair person, I understand things happen. And I went home. The next day I came back. My son wanted to go. It was a Friday, half a day at his school. So I felt like, okay, maybe I could take him, but I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna take him because I just don't want this guy to still be there. So Friday morning, I'm there very early, and 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm where I was told to find him at, and he was busy, very busy. Again, now the show is getting ready to open in a couple hours, and I was there before 8 a.m., but I was in the building. It's about 8:10 at this point, and I finally get his attention, and he comes over to me, and this is I guess I want to say acting director, maybe. I'm not sure if that's what you call him, but he told me, I can't get in touch with the promoter. I wasn't able to get to the promoter. He's not here. My hands are tied. I really can't do anything. Now, this is my hometown show.
This is 12 hours later, though. This is a good amount of time.
Right. I thought, okay, well, I was frustrated because I didn't know, like, okay, well, this guy is on film, using racial words. I know that if they would have heard other things he had said about the promoter, then I felt like they would have maybe acted a little bit quicker. I mean, he's called the promoter a couple of racist names. And I thought, okay, well, we'll see. Maybe the promoter will show up. Maybe they'll get in contact with him. I don't know how this is going to work out. But I've made my feeling was this. My wife was with me today. If he comes over here, he threatens my wife, which he has done in the past, I'm going to jail today. But I've warned you. I've told you what happened. So, you now know. And what ended up happening was there was no movement at all until I had seen a security guard that works for them that I am somewhat familiar with. I spoke to the security guard, and I showed both of them the video. This was now Friday around about, I'm going to say it's about, the show opened I think the show opens at noon. It must have been about 2, maybe 3 o'clock on Friday. So the show was open. Money has been made. People have seen the video. Other guys and girls, who've seen the video, other artists, they're coming to me and they're, expressing, their concern about what they see in the video. They can't believe he's still there at this point. And one of which I had to, a very well-known artist, was about ready to go over there, and I calmed him down. I asked him, let's just wait until we find out what they're going to do. But again, when I seen the security guard, I stopped him and I showed him the video, and he watched it, and he said, he's going to look into this. He can't believe this. That should have been brought to him. Okay, he walked around. With them, I got a bit better results. I got, I was given updates. We put in a call. We're looking to see what we're going to do. We talked to the police. They even talked to the police at one point. I never talked to the police, but they told me they did because they wanted to see what was in their right to do. So that was Friday. Friday, when the show ended, I spoke with a couple of, because again, you know this from traveling yourself, you kind of, you create a con family. And people were coming to me and they're like, is that guy still here? Yeah, he is. And they were very upset and they were shocked and like, what's being done about it? And I said, well, I've told security and they're looking into it. A couple of them, told me they were going to talk to other people to see if they can get anything done. And the word kind of, spread around even further around the, the community. Saturday morning, show opens very early, I think 10 o'clock. He's still there. He's there. At this point now, his mother and her partner are coming by my table, staring my wife down. Now, they've already yelled at my wife before. They've gone in the bathroom with my wife. They're really antagonizing. They won't say anything to her since they haven't yelled at her since 2016, but now they're staring at her. They're eyeballing her. So we go to the convention and we're there and the show opens and he's still there and I can't see him. He's far enough away from me to where he shouldn't see me. You know, I don't know if I don't know if all your, viewers have been to a Comic Con, but they're big places. If you're running a booth, there might be booths you never see because and where he's at, he should not be over in my little corner. And by corner, I mean, I was literally facing a corner of new construction. So you coming around there was coming around to try to intimidate me. And security came back by and they told me they were still working on it. This is now Saturday morning. And at about noon, the head of security comes by. He gestures for me to come over. And he says, okay, I've got an option for you. And this is coming right from the promoter, who at this point, I guess, had been alerted. We're going to put him out the building altogether. He will not be allowed to come back to the show or any future shows. But is it possible that his mother and her partner, if both the ladies can stay and continue selling his stuff? It's Saturday noon. I've got a couple hours and a day left of this. Go ahead. As long as he's out the building and I have the promise that he can't come back, then that's fine. And he was escorted out the building, to my knowledge. I don't know how he took it. I don't know. I'm guessing not well. And after that, the only thing that happened was that his mother came by my booth again, giving me the eye of death. She's just staring at me. And my wife had told me that when she went to the bathroom, there was a line. And, the women are all facing toward the door. His mother is one person ahead of my wife, and she's turned around completely and staring at my wife. And, I was like, what do you, and honestly, their story, their reason for disliking me, their accusations change daily. They don't, one day it's, I took money, the next I took toys, the next, I don't understand what, and even if, I've told people this, if even 100% of what they said was true, does that absolve you to call me, an N-word? Is that why you can do that? I can assure them it's not true, that I didn't do what they said. I've given them proof. I've provided paperwork stating that I didn't do what they said I did. And the whole thing was used to set me up because as I found out more about the deal in the video, I hate to say it, but I've discovered other things about him, his past, legal issues that he's had. I was contacted by law enforcement telling me not to associate with him shortly after I discovered, what he was truly about. And this is, that's one of the reasons why I will not associate with him. I won't talk to him. There's no sit downs. And then I also now know and now can provide proof that he's a racist.
All right. Well, just take a breath. That's a lot. We do have a question from someone from the Facebook feed. Lonzo asked me, or asked you, I should say, what do you mean by threatened your wife?
By my wife, they came over to the table in 2016 at Wizard World Chicago, and they were his his mother and her partner were at the table, and they were yelling at my wife, and they made comments about, where they want to know why he couldn't set up at Wizard World 2016. Wizard World has a rule that when the show opens, there's no setup. I think every show, would you say that's fair, Rob, that every show has that rule?
They have it, few enforce it, but a couple do. A couple will tell you can't set up anymore.
Yeah, like there's no coming in, loading stuff in, and Wizard had that rule. And on top of that, the truck is at the hotel. Hotel's across the street, but that would mean I'd have to go out. I have to leave the convention, walk over to the hotel, bring the truck over, and let him load out. So they're yelling at my wife, "Well, we pay for the table, and we're gonna kick your fucking asses." Excuse my language, but you're gonna kick your ass. And the second thing that happened was after Wizard World 2016, when we came back home, he was calling me, yelling at me, blowing my phone up, and my wife, I got tired of talking to him because, again, you've called me, the N-word. I actually tried to have a civil conversation with him afterward and ask him why would he call me that. So this wasn't like, I want to know why, because I thought we were gonna become friends, and then I found out everything else about him. But he asked my wife, why are you with him? He's an asshole. I could fuck you better than he can. That type of stuff, that pisses me off. And this is a guy who, he obviously has no concern for his well-being. He's like, I know where you live. I've been to your home. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to jump in the car, head over there, and beat the shit out of him, but I can't do that because I do that, I go to jail, then I'm wrong. So yeah, they threatened my wife with kicking her ass. He threatened my wife with, I guess that really wasn't a threat. His comment to my really wasn't a threat, but I mean, I can fuck you better than he can. That's not only is that perverted. This is kind of creepy to say to a woman.
Lonzo had asked, so what stopped you from testing his chin? And I think I can answer that. Lonzo might not realize, for us, this is a business. This is where we go to work. This is like if someone comes up to you at your job and says something, sometimes, and it's not like a CVS job for us. This is a career that's going to follow us for the rest of our lives. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've gone over in my head over and over again, Lonzo, and I can tell you, I thought about, like, oh man, if I could do it again, if I could do it again, oh, I would love to have taken a swing at him or two.
But I have to commend you for doing the right thing, because this brings something. And I mean, you went up and above. I know a lot of people who would have said no, get every one of them out of here.
Yeah,
let them stay.
I was just so relieved to hear that he was leaving. I was just, if whatever it takes to get him out of here, great. Let's get him moved out of here. Sad part about that is that, again, and this is just, I mean, my wife couldn't believe it. She was really upset with me afterward. I talked to the security guard who says I talked to another security guard after he was removed on Sunday. He was removed on Saturday, but on Sunday I talked to the security guard, and he says he cannot come back in the building. He cannot even come back on the property at all. He's banned from even setting up at the show anymore. And at the end of the show, he was loading stuff in and out. And I thought, and the security guard told me, if you see him, come and get me. But at that point, I'm like, look, I've got everything broke down. My truck is right outside. I can load stuff out and get out of here and don't have to deal with this for another year. Because he doesn't do any shows except for that particular show. I didn't want to be that guy that's like, oh my God, he's over there. He's over there. My wife is like, you should have told him that he was back in the building. Promoters, not just in Michigan, but especially in Michigan, who've seen the video, have reached out to me. They've taken his name down, and I'm very, I'm humbled by a lot of the support that I've been given. A lot of the promoters have reached out. They will not be allowing him to set up at their shows. So Motor City has banned him. I know a lot of pretty much every other Michigan Comic Con, I've that I've associated with and that I know of has banned him preemptively from even showing up. So I know that he may figure out ways to try to get in the show after this. This doesn't stop him. I mean, he can be pretty slick. He'll figure out maybe sign up as his mother, or sign up as his mother's partner, or as a friend or something. But a lot of conventions, if they see him on the property, he has to leave.
Well, now let me ask you the question, and this is also for your safety, because for those who don't know, we've been friends for a good amount of time on Facebook. We only just met in person, but we are Facebook friends for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about you and your family. Have you thought about getting a restraining order, taking that route to make sure he can never come near you or your family again?
My wife and I have discussed it. We've discussed it. We would have done it this weekend, but we had planned to be out of town. And then well, now we're not. Maybe we will. We're looking into that. I'm kind of concerned about as to where I'll have to file that restraining order or PPO, because we live in a different county than he does. I believe that I'm not sure if his area and in Novi, where the Moto City Comic Con is held, are there in different counties. So there's a couple of things related to counties that I'd have to look into.
Well, just from my experience, because I did intern shortly at the Bar Association in New York City, and we actually I was studying about rape at the time, and we were talking about actual restraining orders. A restraining order, once granted by any court in the United States, has to be upheld by any police officer in any part of the United States.
Okay.
Counties do not count. States do not count. As long as you can prove you have a restraining order against that person, they are not allowed near you. So I do encourage that for not just you, but name your wife, your child. Make sure that you're protecting your family.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know that much, so I will definitely. But yeah, something that we are looking into doing very quickly here, because I also know that I'm not sure that he is aware of how many shows he's been banned from. I mean, effectively, he can't really go sell anywhere. To me, that's knowing his criminal history now. That's, to me, it's kind of scary, because I know he may go off. He may decide, oh, well, I'm going to do this and that to them.
And that's my concern for you, is that I hate to say it, but a human being doesn't smile and get recorded saying something they know. I mean, look at Roseanne Barr this week. We didn't plan this to happen during the week of Roseanne Barr when we talked about it. We talked about filming this right after you told me. I said, I want to talk about this the right way on our site. And we took a couple of days going back and forth trying to figure out the right way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Roseanne Barr happened, and it's just, I'm so fucking sick of it, man. I'm so sick of this divide and this color nonsense and us just not being folks with each other.
I said earlier on in before we went on that we can't pretend that like comics or the industry that we're both a part of, it was a boys club for so long, and on top of that, it was really just a lot of white males. Then you get an influx of black males coming in. Now you've got as many. I was really happy to see so many women behind tables at MegaCon.
And don't forget about the strong LGBT community coming out now.
Yeah. And this is all great. This is all great. And I think that there's a lot of old attitudes, and some people just don't really want to give up that that old feeling. They're frustrated too, because there's all this, there's this newness about it, and it's the frustration. And then you got some people on other sides that come in with new attitudes that don't quite fit in, and it causes frustration. And but with Dale, I don't think it was that. I think it was just at his heart. Real quick, I have to mention my first conversation with Dale on the phone. He told me I learned where he lived, and I don't want to say what city he lived in, but I once lived in that city. It was my very first apartment was at. And I told him, he said, well, yeah, I told him, oh, I know where that's at, because it's about 40 miles from where I live now, but I know where that area is at. I know exactly where you're at. No problem. I can get to your house. And he says, okay, well, you know, be careful coming out here. Why? Well, you know, because you're black. Okay, well, it's no problem. I've lived out there. I lived out there for about 2 years. I know exactly where, you know, where you're at. It's not a problem. Well, yeah, you know, because you're black, and you know, the cops they'll target black guys, and it was like this warning that went on for like 5 minutes, and it became like, it was like I wonder too, was he warning me to watch out for the cops, or you know, was it kind of like I'm shaking my finger at you, you know, I know you're black, don't try anything when you come out here. I thought about that. Like, he could not get over the fact that I was this, you know, black guy that was doing this. So, but I don't really, I mean, you know, and you mentioned Roseanne, you know, these things that you're seeing happen, and I think Dale is a lot worse than Roseanne. You know, Roseanne has at least attempted to apologize, half-heartedly. You know, I think what did she blame Ambien? I think I read that she blamed Ambien.
Ambien and lack of sleep, which I thought Ambien was supposed to help with sleep, but okay.
Yeah. Dale's an unapologetic racist, and I told some of our mutual friends, and I will be honest with you, you know, I've caught flack since 2016 because of Dale's accusations. People who knew of his criminal history, people who I told that he called me, you know, the N-word, and you know, a couple other things that we said to my wife. I told them these things, and they told me that wasn't his character, but they required proof for me to show them that I hadn't did what he said, and I provided this proof over and over and over. And they got to that point where, Rob, one day I said, you know, I've never been arrested. I've never gotten anything more than a traffic ticket. I've never been arrested. Why is it that I'm having to prove myself against this person who has done a laundry list of crimes? I don't understand it. And I kept thinking about it, and you know, I'm like, okay, I quit. And that's when I walked away from the situation. But the situation keeps following me, and it's boiled over now. I'm glad, though, I got to commend Motor City Comic Con for putting them out. You know, it is a part, people have told me, you know, they should have acted quicker. You know, I never put on a con. I don't know how. I mean, we see it in the rules that it's immediately, I think it's right there. Such actions range from a verbal warning to ejection from the event without a refund. But I think they wanted to, you know, cross their T's, dot their I's, and make sure that he was, you know, they did the right thing. I'm guessing, you know, in my heart, you know, putting him out, they asked me, you know, would I be okay with that? You know, and again, letting his mother and her partner stay there and continue selling his things. Again, just so relieved, you know, you'll hate to be so indelicate, but you'll eat a couple turds if you've been eating a shit sandwich all month. So I dealt with it. I dealt with, okay, yeah, they can stay as long as he's out the building. Because honestly, if he would have been left in the building, he might have came around. Well, I called this guy the N-word, nobody did anything, so now I'm gonna throw stuff at him, or I'm gonna punch him, or I'm gonna, you know, flip his table over.
Well, that's the scary thing. That's definitely because he's escalating, and you could see he's escalating.
Yeah.
He's ballsy in the video, and it's a horrible thing. And Lonzo had said that as a black man, you can never be too careful of traveling. And he said, to follow it up, he said, closet racism is the worst and most dangerous kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's scary. I mean, how do we go forward? How do we get past this moment in time?
As a community, talk about it. Ask questions. If you see something, maybe mention it to someone. And I'm not saying that everything is racist. Everything isn't. I had a situation a while ago where I went to a con, wasn't happy with my spot, asked if I could move to a different spot. I was told no. Um, you know, another young lady, she went and asked if she could move, and she was allowed to move to a table. They found one for her and be able to move. That might not have been racism. That may have been, even though the young lady was white and I'm black. You know, my wife is white, so I don't think that was I don't think that was racism. It was maybe in bad timing. So we have to be very careful of what we point the finger at as racism. Some people need to confront those attitudes, though. I mean, I know people who have come to me since this video, and they've told me, I didn't think that was still out there as clearly as it is, and who would come to Comic-Con and do that? This is a guy who sells toys to your children. That's who Dale is. And he feels that way. He feels that he can call people the N-word. He's called the promoter of the show a bunch of disrespectful names for Jewish people. A bunch. And, he doesn't care. Because, I guess he thinks he can get away with it. And it's, looking at his criminal record, he skated by a lot. He skated by a lot. He has some serious charges that somehow he's got, a slap on the back of the wrist for. And, this might actually be the only time where he's going to get punished. So, again, that's why I have looked at those PPOs and I have looked at those, restraining orders and tried to weigh options, because I don't know, this guy, this might be the only punishment he's ever received.
And that's a dangerous position to put him in.
Yeah.
For yourself too. I mean, the one thing I was happy to hear during this story was you talking about how the community kind of came up behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about the support you've gotten from the community, because I like things to be positive, and this is something that's not obviously positive, but if we can get to a point where we're at least encouraging each other and like you said, making people step up and call people out. And I think stop excusing your friends when they say something racist. Be like, dude, that's fucking racist. I've had family members who have, not my blood family, but I've had relations from in-laws say racist shit in front of me, and I'm like, wow, that's fucking, just in front of everyone, wow, that's racist. And the room got quiet. But we need to have that conversation and stop letting people feel like there's a safe place to whisper about other people.
The community it's been great. I mean, I've gotten nothing but support. I got questions. The only thing that people like, why didn't you hit him? Why didn't you knock him out? And again, no one. I don't want anybody to be, that didn't cross my mind. I threatened. I said, say it again, I'll knock you the fuck out. I wanted to. In my head, I think I did, but I didn't. But the community, people have come to me, at the show, since the show, in messages, and they've supported me. And people also in the community shook, the cages and said, hey, this guy is still here. So it just wasn't me fighting. It was a lot of people behind the scenes, some of which I know don't want to be named. They've told me, don't mention me, but they really stepped up for me. And that I appreciate it. I mean, this is people from every color, every gender, sexual orientation, that stepped up, and they were like, this cannot stand. And I think that right there is how we move forward. That type of unity, trying to get everyone together on the same page, that we won't allow this. Because I mean, if you tell people you won't allow racism, then I think in some points the racism won't come. The racism, the sexism, anybody who looks down on somebody because of who they choose to spend their, life with. If we tell people we won't accept that in the industry, those people will pack up and leave. And you see it every day. It's happening more and more. People, they're quitting comics left and right because they can't push, an extreme agenda one way or the other.
I completely agree, but we have two comments I just want to touch. Lonzo wants to know where he can support you, where he can find things to support your work.
My website is lastcallcomics.com. We have an online store on there. Yeah, we put out. We're a comic book. I'm a comic book publisher. I draw a couple of comics and on there. Some of them I just publish. And thelastcallcomics.com is the best place to find most of our stuff. Most stuff that I have something to do with creating. I'm very bad at plugging myself, except for the hat that I wore.
I can help you out with that. Rashad wanted to know, he said that, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what's happening here. I came on late. I've been listening for about 10 minutes, but I still don't know exactly what happened. Can you give just a quick recap so people who did join a little later, because I know we're having a shift. California's now getting off work, so we might be seeing new people come in right now, and we've been in it for an hour. So could you just do a quick recap for those who joined?
Sure. At my local comic convention, back on May 17th, a toy vendor, and myself, I'm an artist in Artist Alley. We had a disagreement. The disagreement years ago, in which he called me, at the end of the disagreement, he called me N-word. We speed ahead. 2017, we had a little bit of verbal confrontation. No racial barbs were traded that particular time, other than, there was no racial barbs. There were just a lot of insults flying back and forth. I may have called him a punk ass, but that was pretty much it. This year in 2018, he called me a N-word 3 times on camera. I caught it. The video isn't posted to my site. My Facebook, you can find that at Varian. My name is Varian Grant. You can click on the video. Is public. A lot of people shared it. It's been shared in a lot of comic book groups as well. So I think the video, checked, the video's been viewed over 1,000 times, which for me is pretty good because nothing I ever post gets viewed that much. So I'm sad that it took that to get, that's the one post that actually got 1,000 views. But yeah, it's a post that I think, you have to see to believe, because again, in 2016, when I told people he said that, no one believed me. I did have some taped conversations between he and I, where again, after this whole thing in 2016, he, was calling me, leaving voicemails, and I let our mutual friend hear it, and the guy was making nothing but excuses for him. Nothing but excuses. Oh, we need to sit down and have a talk with them, and a lot of other things. He kept telling me, oh well, sometimes he doesn't know what he's saying. He knew enough to whisper the N-word 3 times.
And there is a video for you guys who came up late that will be here. You can go back after we're live and see it. I will not put him through it again. I'm not going to play it again on the show. It was played once, and that was far more than I wanted to see it on this show, but it was necessary to back up everything that he had said and show the importance. To go back to the point we were making before the questions, though, I think racism's also a sport right now. I think that people think that it's cool to be racist, and I'm not sure people really are as racist as they're saying and they're talking. I think we're blind to the shit we're saying right now and what it really means, and I think that's dangerous. I don't think people understand how much these things really do hurt on both sides. Whether you're talking about white privilege to a kid who grew up in a poor neighborhood and has no fucking idea what white privilege is, or you're talking to a person of color, a Spanish person, about how their life is when you have no clue about it, I think we forgot to stop and get to know each other nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, as a, like you mentioned that we, it's like almost a sport now. We're molded to believe certain things. I as a kid growing up, my mother's from the South, and there were things that when we go down south, I would hear the visit. My mother, father, and I would go down south, and I would talk to other kids, and they were, other black kids, and they would tell me things about the white kids across town. That since I've grown up, I realized, those aren't true. That none of what they said was true, and I'm pretty sure it's the way around. My son goes to a predominantly white school, and you know, he only and he's only 7, but he's only ever encountered one racist situation where he was told by another kid, well, you have to play with the other black kids because you're black, and I'll play with the white kids because I'm white. And I don't even think I would call that racist. It's just kids kind of finding their own way. The situation was corrected. I did contact the school, let them know that this had been said, and they had they did do, you know, what it took to make sure that didn't happen again. But again, like you said, I don't even think sometimes, and this is not excusing Dale, but in the climate that we live in right now, not everyone is as racist as they're pretending to be. And I know that sounds pretty weird, but like you said, it's cool to be racist right now. You know, and you know, we have to be very careful of that. Like again, my wife is white, so you know, it's pretty odd. I'll make, you know, we'll make comments about her not seasoning food, and you know, she takes it on the chin. But you know, even it starts with that till it gets down to, you know, something like Dale, someone calling you.
But I think comedy has a way to be expressive and kind of join us, picking on it, like you said. What sometimes when someone calls you asshole from across the show floor, it's your best friend.
Yeah,
it's your Comic-Con family, and you're looking for a hug and a happy story, and when we pick on each other, and I think that's kind of what we're missing now, is that comedy has gotten so restrained that we can't say the uncomfortable things in humor and talk about it. And I think that's what Richard Pryor did for us. I think George Carlin did that. Eddie Murphy, and I can keep going down a list. Chris Rock. I think we need that shit in our face more. I think we're too much of a snowflake culture where people now feel like, fuck it, I'm going to get in trouble anyway. Let me just use the N-word.
Yeah, I mean, there was I was looking at oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the show right now, but Archie Bunker. I was looking at old episodes of that show, and I was laughing because a lot of the stuff he said was funny. But it's like you said, it's comedy. What happened to me wasn't comedy. It was out of anger. And it's like, you know, but at the same time, I was asked the other day if I ever thought that I could forgive Dale for what he said to me and what he said to my wife. And in truth, I've already forgiven him, because my belief is that if I and I have to forgive him, because if I allow him to upset me, I'll live in that anger and he will control me because of it. And also, I feel that if I don't see him at cons anymore, that's a great way not to be upset about it anymore, because I have to see his face. I have to ask you though, is that enough? You know, is it enough to forgive somebody, or you know, if I forgive this guy and say, you know, okay, I forgive him, and even if I see him attending a Comic-Con, not to put that, you know, let that comic promoter know, hey, this guy said this, here's his video. You know, would that be considered petty on my behalf to do that?
It's hard, because there's got to be accountability. There's always got to be accountability, and he needs to be held accountable. But we don't go forward without forgiveness. Look at us with Japan. Look at us with Germany now as a country. We work with these countries, and once there are bitter enemies.
Yeah.
But it's the level of where forgiveness comes, and forgiveness has to be earned. And I think that's something very important. He can't just show up and say, oops, I'm sorry. Not good enough.
Yeah.
Not good enough. You need anger management. You need to be able to prove to us you want anger management.
You know, it's sad because calling me the N-word was, out of all of his crimes, probably one of the least, because he's done things that, you know, again, that I've seen his public record, and it was given to me, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And this was a man that you know, my son had been around. This was a man that my wife had been around. My mother had met him once. So this was somebody, again, so I say that because I want you to understand that this was well on its way to becoming what could have been a long friendship. You know, other than a few, you know, again, the warnings about, oh, don't come to my town because it's severely racist, even though I live there. I've lived there in the past, you know, it was a few hiccups here and there, you know, okay, we'll work past those things.
Well, you should have known the warning when you started giving the police names not to avoid. You should
Yeah.
have who's their leader.
Yeah,
if they're wearing white hoods, just avoid them.
yeah, those guys there, you know, you don't want to talk to them. Don't ask them for directions. He was very, you know, oh, be careful about those guys and be careful about the cops and, you know, don't come out, you know, and I lived there, man. I've been out there. Don't worry, I'm not afraid of that area. And because if you have nothing to fear, honestly, the only thing they could have did was pull me out the car. If the cops would have messed with me in that particular area, they would have been wrong. I mean, you know, my license is always good, my plates, all that stuff. So I'm fine. I don't do any type of drug. I don't have anything on me. So, you know, yeah, that's fine. They pulled me over. It's probably because I was speeding. and I do speed. I do. I mean, you know,
no, you don't speed. Don't say that on the video.
Yeah. And then they can edit that later and say to turn to I do speed or something like that. So
I enjoy speeding.
yeah. But it was yeah, I mean, to have the support of the community, and more people are finding out about the video. The people are still discovering the video. And to me, you know, it's every time you know, it hopefully changes the minds of certain people where they say, you know, I'm not going to do that. You know, if there's someone out there who does have the same beliefs, they'll know, you know, there's no place for that at Comic-Con. There's no place for that at any comic convention around the country.
Now, do you think, honestly, that Comic-Con's learning from this should have an easier ejection system where something like this should be a no-brainer and it should just be like, pack your shit and get out?
Yeah. I think that, and again, I say this because we have a lot of things going on right now where I would love to see a new system set in place as long as there was proof. If there was proof that, you know, I called you something hideous or I threatened to do something to your loved one, whether it be, you know, threats of violence, sexual, and there was proof of it. Tangible proof, immediate ejection, no refund, get out.
No mom and partner staying, right?
Right. Nobody, yeah, your staff isn't staying, you're getting your stuff and you're getting out. You know, and I would honestly I'd be open to that person. Like if it was, because you know, you've been to many conventions. I'm sure your listeners have. Conventions get pretty crowded. You know what? You're gonna bag your stuff up, or you're gonna get what you can out of here. Now we're gonna cover your booth down. We're gonna have people standing around your booth. You're not selling. You're done. You know, and just help you get the stuff out to the car so you can get out of there. Because I mean, I understand breaking out in the middle of a show can cost you a lot, but you can lose stuff can get stolen, but we have to do something because, you know, I'm pretty sure this has happened more than to me. This has happened. He's done this to other people, but I was the one to catch it on video.
I sadly, I think it's happened more than just between your situation.
Yeah.
Sure, there's someone out there who brought this up, not about necessarily Dale, but about being said something or something wrong. And there is a he said, she said mentality that cons, I'm sure, have to deal with that is not fun.
Yeah.
But in this circumstance, we had a video, and it's alarming that I don't care if the show, and this is not against them at all, but if he's sick, he has a staff in place. You know, being from a retail management background, I don't think anyone would wait. We would have suspended the employee if we had to wait, but they'd be kicked out of the store. I don't understand it. That I just don't.
I mean, if he were in the plant, for instance, I worked at General Motors for quite some time, and if you were to use that type of language, whether it be anything against a person of any skin color, you'd be put out of there very quickly. So yeah, I mean, there's,
And
I think that they need to make sure that they have people, those rules are enforced. I mean, you've got the policy right up there on the screen. It's there's they have the language is there, but it's hard to enforce. I was told, I can't put a dealer out of here without checking with the promoter. So there's a class structure.
But that right there, right? I mean, and we see this. I go to cons, and I went to a con, and I won't mention what, but they treated my son, him being with me, and I'm a single dad. You've seen my son with me. He was with me at MegaCon.
Yeah.
I travel with my son in certain shows, like MegaCon, to their credit, said, please get your kids off as soon as possible. And I respect that because they weren't threatening and they weren't saying I had to. They were saying when you can. And that's really respectful. And in their paperwork, it said, don't have your kids on for load off. But they were very, very nice about the way that they made the announcements. Credit to MegaCon. I was at another con and they were like, literally, I talked to one of the showrunners and they were like, oh, you have to make better life decisions about having my son with me. And I'll tell you the truth, I almost broke my table down right there and went home. Because if you're going to have my son versus you, then you're never going to have a life decision. And I feel like as artists and even possibly creators, we're getting treated like shit at Comic-Cons now a lot more than we ever have been. Like, you're calling yourselves a Comic-Con because we're fucking there. You take us out and you're no longer a Comic-Con. And I don't know Motor City. I don't know the owner. I say this as someone who's heard this story only. And if they watch this video, I want them to understand the acoustics and the visuals of what they've done and retrain. This has got to be a retrainable moment. No one, because he could have endangered you. And that's what upsets me. Seeing that video, he wanted to take it to a violent level. They should have removed him because it was a danger to you and the public at that point. In this day, with shooters, we can't be complacent to allow this behavior to go unchecked.
I provided the con, and I'm not too proud to say that I provided some of the other promoters who reached out to me with documentation that they can see, where they can know that this man is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. I believe I discussed with you last week, some of the things that I found out about him. And, he's a ticking time. So if not this con, if not me, if not the next show, there will be at some point someone's going to run afoul of him. And he's going to put his hands on him. And the con, I think, will be held responsible. Because there's, I'm pretty sure that if you walk into a show, if someone comes to your table and they come to the Indie Advocates table and you start attacking them, physically, the con might be held accountable, especially if there's a record of, hey, this guy likes to start shit.
Just for the record, I only beat up people who don't like my comics. My comics and you're fine.
Well, see, yeah, that at that point, you're no longer like, they don't have rights anymore.
I only beat up critics. If you're a critic, you're in trouble.
Yeah, critic.
But I see what you're saying though, because it's he endangered the person who made that call that I can't react because I don't know the promoter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's bullshit. You're in charge. Man up and be like, you know what? No, you have to go. If I get in trouble, so be it. I can get another job. But you could cause people to get hurt. Humans have to come first. Forget color, forget all that. We're all just fucking human beings. We all got to treat each other with love and respect.
I'm still getting, and again, I'm getting calls from promoters, and the con has reached out to me to speak to me about what happened. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that what needs to happen now is that we make sure that this guy is not, and anybody just like him is just not allowed to come to Comic-Con. And but the thing is, again, how do we keep him out? How do we keep him and other people out? I mean, they can figure out ways to get back in by using a different name. So people are going to have to be vigilant. That's the guy that did X, Y, and Z at this show. I'm going to pull the video up. Here's the video. Here's what he said. Here's what he's accused of doing. I I know a show right now that, and I won't say any names, but it's not in Michigan. It's another show. But the promoter, it might be in Michigan. Maybe it was, but the promoter was sexually harassing an underage girl and tried to have sexual relations with an underage girl. And he was removed from his own promotion, from his own con. And he's no longer with the show. And then the show folded. But it was like that was done so much quicker. This is the promoter we're talking about. So, we had to get these poisons people out of the industry. And the best way to do that is to confront them and let, I think, promoters know that, hey, if you're going to have this person here, then we're not going to be here. You said it yourself. We start at some point getting treated like crap. I've been to some shows where, there's this class structure, and I'm seeing it more and more. It goes by the amount you pay. So you got your dealers; those are your toy guys, your, T-shirt, and you used to be your bootleg movie hawks. And those people they were, and we in Artist Alley are kind of treated as, second class citizens. Maybe it's like the Titanic. We're down there in the basement, and we really don't get that type of I guess I want to call it, like, we don't get represented enough, but we pay to be there. And if I bought 3 tables at some shows, I'd probably be paying the same amount as some vendor up front.
And not just that, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Call it vendor con if we leave? Are you gonna call it vendor con? Oh, come buy all the shit you could get at Target for cheaper.
I think they'll become pop festivals at that.
Oh, you know what they are? They're flea markets without us. That's what they are. And I think Comic Cons have to remember that. It's us. It's the creators. It's the artists. It's the people who are creating something and not reselling it. And I'm not trying to hate on the people reselling things, but I want just the same respect as these guys. I don't care how much they pay for it. You're a Comic-Con because of comic books. Never forget where you come from. And credit to MegaCon, SuperCon down here in Florida, New York Comic Con, and C2E2. Artist alleys there are done with a lot more respect. I know MegaCon gets some shit, but this MegaCon, I didn't feel like we were mistreated. I would have liked an earlier start time in our load-in, but beyond that, we were treated pretty well in our areas.
Yeah, I was in my first MegaCon this year, and I thought it was good. I thought it was great. I loved the way it was put together. And again, I don't want anybody to come up on a Motor City Comic Con. It's my hometown show. I've done that show pretty much every year since I've been in comics. I think I missed 1 year due to illness, and I love that show. I respect the people that put it on. I think lately there's been some staff shifting, which could have caused this, them not knowing what to do in the situation. But it can be a teaching moment for everyone to realize, hey, if this happens at our show, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And it should be, like you said, immediate removal, shut them down. But it needs to be proof. There needs to be proof, because we can't have the two narratives. Oh, well, he said this, or she said that, because then it becomes, just gossip. I'm not telling everybody to walk around for camera. I don't know if that's going to help anything. But as many cameras as we have now, it could help.
Yeah.
I've seen last year, I seen a young lady get put out of a show because they said that she had stolen artwork. That was out of a Wizard World show. When she was shut down, the show started on a Friday morning. By Friday midday, she was gone. I didn't even see her break down. I mean, it was like, I don't know who broke her down. Was it ninjas or whatever? But she was down the aisle from me at the end of the aisle. And by the end of that day, I walked. Where is she at? Oh, she got put out. Wow, she got put out in under 6 hours. It took, again, 6 o'clock, being notified that he called me the N-word, till that was on a Thursday, till Saturday at noon.
That's 42 hours.
Yeah.
So 42 hours. So do you want to see them make a press release about this, or at least maybe strengthen the rules, like the disciplinary action, where someone who has video evidence will be immediately ejected?
Well, not just them, and I don't make it press release necessary, but I do think some change is necessary. I know that they've been waiting to talk to me, and I will be, hopefully able to, maybe put together some type of or be a part of whatever they're trying to put together to make sure that we can, enforce policies on people. A press release will be necessary though, just restructuring the rules and to go from and not just stop it, Motor City, but to go into other shows all over the country and make sure that this does not happen, because this could have been any show.
Yeah.
This could have been MegaCon. This could have been Allentown. This could have been Wizard World, Columbus or Chicago or Des Moines. This could have been anywhere. And it's happening right now somewhere. Right now, it's happening.
We need to make a slogan like cosplay is not consent. We got to put like, racism is not okay in comics.
Yeah. Like and this, and again, the people that came out to support me that I seen, there were people putting on Facebook, hey, if you go to, the con, his booth, don't go to it. And they were putting his booth number down and everything. And, I don't want to say the booth number in case someone watches this video 2 years from now and, they go to that booth and they
throw exit the guy. It won't even be the same guy.
Yeah, but they, it's really weird too, because he uses the name, and I want to tell people this. His name of he likes to go by Dale's Toys.
Now I just want to say that's creepy. I'm going to put it out there. That's just creepy. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, you know what? When I was helping him, I tried to have him come up with a different name. I'm like, how about Dale's Toy Whale or something? You can get like a whale and put toys in it, like a water whale.
I write fetish books, and that sounds like a porn shop in the middle of the night you go to. Dale's Toys. Get your tickler, your French tickler here.
Yeah. I mean, he's a weird guy. He's a weird guy. So I wouldn't be surprised. There's another Dale's Toys in comic that does Comic Con, and and Dale snuck in on that guy's tickets and tried to get that guy's booth at Wizard World 2016 in Chicago, and I had to go tell them, you gave him the wrong tickets. You gave him, and oh my goodness, we didn't know that. And they didn't know either. So he likes to bully people. He's a big guy. I mean, you just met me. I'm pretty short. I'm officially, if you see me look off camera, I'm looking toward my wife and my son who are walking around. I think I'm officially 5'3", 5'4". Dale's at 6'1", 6'2". So he's got, a foot and a half on me. He's a big guy. You can tell from the video. And so he likes to bully people. And, I think he was all upset. May have been upset that I will not be bullied by him. And, I want people to know that if you see Dale's Toys, make sure you look for him or, his mother or her partner, because there are, I don't want you to get the wrong Dale and go out there and say, oh, this guy is, the other guy has a big, I think, banner that says Dale's Toys. Dale doesn't have that. So
I'm in so much trouble with Dale's Toys. The other Dale Toys are like, what's wrong with the name Dale Toys? What's wrong with you?
I tried to help the guy. I will tell you this. The first time I met him personally, now this is after the phone conversation, when I went to his house, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody here, but he lives with his mother in the basement, and his room looks like a Toys R Us exploded. Like he's got grid wall and pegs with the toys all on the wall. And
that's how a horror movie starts, right there. That's like the whole setup for a horror movie.
It's like, I'm gonna encase you into one of these toys.
Exactly. You're gonna be in an action figure, like little plastic thing on the wall with other people.
This dead.
Much worse. You're alive and you get fed by a tube.
It'd be horrible. My wife would be in a Barbie box. He was very descriptive. I had to make sure my son walked out the room, but he was very descriptive. He was like, yeah, I mean, this is the first day he knows me. Hey, do you know any single ladies? What? No. He wanted to date my mother-in-law. It was very weird, but he said, yeah, I haven't found a new. and I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but he's like, I haven't found a new girlfriend since my last one, you know. And he tells me what she liked to do to him sexually, and I'm like, what? Say, hey, calm down, man. You know, we just met. You know, you can't, you know, hit me with your, you know.
Did he have a shed on the property? And if he did you check to make sure no one was being held against their will?
I did not check. I want to gather as soon as possible. It wasn't a figure staring at me like this through clamshells. You know, he's a very weird man, but very peculiar guy. But I did not expect for our, and I hate to call it a friendship because I guess it never really was, but our association, I didn't intend for it to, I didn't expect or intend for it to end so quickly. And I didn't think it was going to get to this point, you know, where it was, you know, it was this and that. It really showed me the, as a footnote, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but as a footnote to the whole situation, the mutual friend that we have owns a comic book store. This is why I met him. And I found myself in a situation where that particular individual was put between Dale and I. And I'm a grown man. I told him, you can have, you know, I'm not, after I seen that I could not prove my innocence, I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna talk about it anymore, screw it. And it kept being brought back up to me. So speed ahead a little while, and this particular store was new in my area. I had set up the first free comic book day there. I got local artists that I knew to come down. They came down. The first show was decent. The Halloween show was because it's Halloween. They give out free comic books on Halloween as well. Was it Halloween Horror Fest, I think it's called?
Yeah.
This is all 2016. This is 2000 and, was this 17? No, it wasn't 17. No, it wasn't. It's 2017. I'm banned. I can't come back to the store. I can't set up at the store anymore. They run out of room. Now, I'm not officially banned, but there's never any room for me during Free Comic Book Day. This is a store that I've provided fixtures for out of my own, because I was toying with the idea of opening a store at one point, and I bought a bunch of store fixtures. And when I was like, I'm never going to run a store, I gave this gentleman store fixtures.
Wow.
And I looked out for him, and then to find out that, okay, so you chosen, you know, decide with this guy who I told you to call me this, you know, you chose to side with him over me. That's fine, whatever. But now I'm pretty sure you've seen the video. I'm not sure. I mean, they normally sit very close to each other at Comic Cons, and I'm not sure if that's because, you know, honestly, to be honest with you, I think that guy doesn't really care too much for Dale either. But he sided with him on the particular matter, and now I believe that if he's seen the video or he's seen Dale be removed, he knows why. I haven't gone to the store in about 2 years now. I've considered going up there just to hear what he has to say. Sometimes I think I would like to know what he has to say, because he was the guy who introduced us, and he was the guy who ultimately decided to not believe me when I said, you know, that Dale was the type of person. And it shocked me too. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect, you know, I hate to say it, but you kind of expect some casual racism. Him telling me to be careful in the city that he lived in was, okay, whatever. But to straight up call me the N-word, I mean, I'm keeping a record. He's probably called me the N-word about 10 or 11 times now.
Well, I mean, you should never even have to accept casual racism.
No.
Racism or bias towards anything. We all got to grow the fuck up. And I say it all the time, and I post things. I try not to be political. You know that. You've seen my feed. I try to keep it very positive. But every so often I'll post something, and I recently posted something about Trump. It wasn't positive about Trump. He still said dumb shit, which we expect. But what it showed is how the media twisted the dumb shit that he said. Mm-hmm. And no one watched the video. They only read Trump and started regurgitating how horrible of a person he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the culture we live in now. We don't think before we talk. We don't look into something. And I think that we're losing our humanity because when he called you those words, he was happy to call you those words.
Yeah.
And that's what was scary. And that's what worries me about a restraining order for you and all that, is that he enjoyed tormenting you like this was fun. I understand people saying shit in anger, and you can kind of forgive anger, right? Because anger gets us all. Every human being has said something they wish they could have back in a fit of rage. He wasn't angry. He was exciting you and enjoying every minute of it. And we have to be able to sort him out from everyone else. So if everyone else could just stop being stupid for a while so we could get rid of these people, it'd be so helpful.
It would he you know, and it was, I didn't even notice a smile until someone else brought it up to me. I think you may be the second person to bring it up, and I always forget about the smile at the end of the video. And when I think about the smile, that's really what pisses me off, that he was happy to say this.
Yeah,
it wasn't rage. It was, I mean, you know, again, and you hear me in the video say, your stuff is way over there. And not to mention that he was coming out of my door intentionally. There are a couple different loadout points at that convention. There were ways that if I was that upsetting to you, you could have missed me. But you started bringing stuff way down by my section, so you could have an altercation.
And I mean, it's just, we need to get to that moment where we can separate the nonsense from the serious, and us serious people who are against racism and who just want a forward-thinking society. We need to stand together and stop with the nonsense. Because I think it's all of us arguing with each other over stupidity, over playing politic games. Like I said, I think racism's become a sport to some people. I don't think people are as racist as they are. I think a lot of people, and I think this is really for every person who says something racist, I think they're just doing what they think they can get away with. You know what I mean? If you put someone in front of them that they know they can't be racist in front of, they'll stop. But this guy, he knew he was being recorded. He was it was like he was coming out, like a gay person is thrilled to come out about being gay. It was like, finally, here I am, the racist prick. You know,
Yeah.
that huge smile. And that's what really bothered me about it, was that it was this moment in the video where it's like him. He's the one that everyone's talking about on the internet that makes everyone hate every white person. Here's the motherfucker. This is the guy.
Yeah, and
hating everyone else right here.
You know, another question, and it might get lost because I'm not a great wordsmith, but it wasn't. You know, we had to also ask ourselves one other question: why was he so comfortable saying it there?
Yeah.
Why was he so comfortable saying it at that show and at a comic show? He was so comfortable saying it. This wasn't, you know, he whispered it, sure, but he was so comfortable to say it. It wasn't his first time saying it. I know for sure it wasn't his first time saying it to me. I'm imagining that he said a couple other things on the way home in the car.
But he whispered it like it was pillow talk.
Yeah.
Like it was exciting to him to whisper. Like he was on 50 Shades of Grey and he was like, this is my safe word.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My mother asked me after she seen it. My mother didn't see the video until about 2 days afterwards, after the show was over. And she was shocked, and she said, I'm lucky. She's like, she wanted to be there. And she actually almost went, but she decided not to. And she said to me, you know, he's just, you know, whispering it, you know, why would he say that? And why is he, I thought that guy and you were, you know, friends, and why would he call you that? And I told her, you know, Mom, if ignorance, but also opportunity. He felt he had the opportunity to say it. He felt that nothing was going to happen to him. He has this idea in his head where he is like, I hate to say it, but I don't think that he thought he was going to get kicked out. I think that he thought that he had the support of everybody around him and that nothing would happen. And I'm very interested to know what happened when he got kicked out. I'm very interested to know what happened when they told me he had to leave the show. I don't think it was pretty, because even last year when he was walking to the show, And the guy asked him, you know, you've been to load in, it's busy. People are coming and going. The guy said, "Step to the side, move, move, move." And he turned around, "You fucking move, motherfucker." And it's like, whoa. And the guy looked at him like, "Hey man, he's off." It's like, why don't go tell somebody, "Hey, this guy is combative. Let's get him watched. Let's check."
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I'm glad that maybe nothing happened to him that year. Now he got to this point, and now he can sit at home.
But like right there, you can look to the past. We can see that these people are allowed in our culture, and we all know them. I've been to enough shows that I've seen people who are like outright rude, and they sit around, they say things that they shouldn't, and we all know someone like that. And you know, there's a difference between kidding around and there's like I see people drinking behind their tables, and we talked about that and joked about how you shouldn't be drinking on the job at one point, and this really is a job, and some people, they come here, and you got to worry who we're letting in cons if we're not able to kick them out. I mean, this should have been a no-brainer. And if you didn't tell that security guard, would anything have happened?
That's a question I've asked myself. I don't think anything would have happened if I didn't flag down suited security. And you know, again, and the only reason I knew that he was a kid is because I've dealt with him before, and I know him semi-personally. When he and I were talking, he realizes how long I've known him, and he's like, "Wow, that's almost 10 years now." I'm like, "Yeah," and he's okay. So, and he did, and I was really happy with the way he made the situation his own, and they were apologetic, and they put him out of there. And I'm not somebody's gonna keep wag my finger at Then I understand they had to do what they had to do to make sure that they were within legal. They didn't want to get sued. They got a show to run. But now the best thing for them to do is to say, "Hey, call out people who do this. Bring it to our attention. Let's find out what's going on so we can make it uncomfortable for them. So they either don't sign up, or they don't come back." Yeah. And Dale is the first of many that should not be allowed back, and he won't be. And as long as I'm going to that show, or I have friends that go to that show, because if he's there next year, I'm gonna let them know, "Hey, he's here. I was told he wasn't supposed to be here." And I will definitely let the advocates community know that, hey, this guy's back.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things where we have to. I hate the idea of self-policing, but we do have to a little bit. We do. This isn't about some creator making something that we might dislike or not like. I mean, this is about someone not just crossing the line, but kind of like pulling down his pants and rubbing his ass on the line.
Right. This isn't a book. He didn't create anything. He's not a creator. He's a guy who gets his toys, who do these memes, and sells them out to fans for absorbent prices. And this isn't anything he created. This isn't a book he's created. This is him using, a racist word to get a rise out of me, and it didn't work. And it did get him banned, and I think that serves him completely right. I think that's what he deserves, and I'm still not too sure what his end game was. That's another scary thing. We talk about being scared. What was his end game? What was his goal? What did he want from me? What was he trying to prove? Other than the fact that, you tell a guy's wife that you can, fuck her better than he can. It starts to be what? There's that. He flirted with my mother-in-law. He wanted my mother-in-law really badly. She rejected him. And this is like first meeting of him first meeting them, because I was going back and forth to this guy's house trying to help him get prepared for these shows. We only ever did 2 shows together, and it was that second show where he called me, N-word, and that was between May and August of 2016.
So he was like also testing his comforts. And the way the video looks to me is that he was trying to get you to throw the first punch. So either he could beat you up, or if he failed to win the fight, he would get you kicked out. Because that's the type of bitch. That's the type of bitch people like that are. I've seen bigger guys, but when you knock them to the floor, they cry like little fucking bitches.
My mother even suggested that maybe he's running out of money, because There are things, and I can't speculate. I don't want to speculate too much on his personal life, but there are things that I noticed. He thought he had the internet at his home. He was giving his mother's partner money for the internet and their phone bills. Well, his mother and her partner are running around with brand new iPhones. He's got a little flip phone. It's odd. He thinks he has the internet. I go get on his laptop. There's no internet connection in the house. There's a box there. It's been off. It's flashing. Pay your bill, basically. You know, because I'm trying to help him sign up for shows. I asked the partner. I asked her. I said, "Hey, do you have the Wi-Fi password?" She looked at me like she had seen a ghost. No, eyes got that big. No, I don't know the internet password. I have to go, and immediately left.
Yeah, that's not suspicious.
No, it would, and I'll say this: Dale is blaming me for. He claims that I took money from him. I did not take money from him. The money that he gave me to secure his tables, the first money he gave me was refunded to him. I've provided proof, bank proof that it was refunded and that he has it and it was given back to him. But Dale does not control his own assets. His mother does. So I don't want to say too much more than that, but he doesn't have to look too far to where the money's at. But he can't because he does not do these things. It's, you know, the money's controlled by her, and I've proven that the money went back. But that's not good enough for some people. Some people, I guess, want me to give it to him, and I don't have it to give because it was already sent back.
Well, I mean, in the end of the day, the best thing to do is just walk away now. This is clearly a situation. And what's a deposit for a table? $100?
Yeah. For a it depends on the show. Depends on the show.
Either way, it's not. We're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars. Everyone needs to just leave it alone at this point and let you two just separate and go into your own corners of the world. And I do hope that that Dale finds, whether it be Jesus or a mentor or someone to help him not be that guy in the video anymore. And I mean that truly, because I don't think leaving Dale's behind helps. I think that we do need to get him into some sort of therapy. And that's not meant to say that I'm a therapist or anything like that. But looking at the video, it's not hard to see that he needs to find something.
He needs a lot in his life. He needs a lot in his life. And I almost feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. One last thing I want to mention too, though, and this is not to make it back about what happened to me, but this is just in general. I was asked, and I guess they had to do it part of the investigation. My wife was really upset about it, though. I was asked, tell us the whole story. This is what I was asked to do about what happened between you and this guy. My wife's question to me was, why does that matter? You've shown them a video of what he said.
I agree with you. At that point, it doesn't, no matter what, even if you took the money, and I'm not saying you did, not trying to put that out there, but let's say that you stole $400 or $500 from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a court system's for. That's what police are for. You don't go trying, just like now he's done this to you. If you went up to him at every show or tried to hunt him down and hurt him, that would be illegal.
Yeah.
Into your own hands. And he's destroyed part of your reputation.
Yeah.
So you have cause. And that's the point here, is that it doesn't matter what happened outside of the con. And that's none of their business, honestly. And I do agree with your wife in that regard. He overstepped a rule that they set up for their con. And this is a contract we signed. They're wrong to ask you that. It should have been, he did that, got you, we're going to go kick him out. It should have been that cut and dry.
Later on, now I'm beginning to understand what she meant now. And now it's like, wow, you know what, you're right. Why did what happened between he and I, why does that even matter? But, you know, again, if it was part of the investigation, but that's why, you know, I'm eager to have a conversation with them so I can maybe be a part of restructuring that rule. And, you know, hey, something racist happened. And again, I keep trying to get off of this thing, but years prior at that show, there was a group of Dukes of Hazzard displays set up right across from me. The gentleman who runs that display came over to my table before the show opened, reached out, shook my hand, introduced himself, and said, "Hey, I have a question. Does that bother you? Because if it does, I'll take that Confederate flag down." It didn't bother me at all. I said, "No, that's the Dukes of Hazzard car. I don't mind it. Go ahead. You gotta promote your stuff here." I was more happy that the lady who plays Daisy Duke was there, and Schneider were there, and they were taking pictures. I was excited about looking at them. Hell, those are people that I've watched on TV for years. The fact that I made them come over and do that, that is how we progress. Is this offensive to you? Would you like me to change it? That type of thing. That's what we need, not more Dales.
Yep, and I agree with you. And I think that's a perfect place to actually end the video. I think that is the perfect way. Just hang out so we can talk off air.
All right.
Who joined us, don't let the conversation stop here. Have this conversation with everyone that you know, and also start holding each other accountable. Even if something sounds a little racist, I have a little trick for you. The minute you start to say, "Is this racist?" Yes, it is. The minute you have to stop and think, "Am I saying something?" Yes, you are. I know that as a person, I can say offensive things, and I don't mean racially offensive. I mean, I pick on people, and I'm a smartass. And I understand who I am, but I also understand boundaries. And I know there's certain jokes we don't tell anymore. We're not supposed to. I grew up in the 90s where, quote, the F word for a gay person was thrown around like it was cotton candy, and no one was supposed to be offended. We have to learn to move on beyond what we've learned in the past. We have to evolve and continue to grow as human beings. And that also has to do with our circles. Stop being in an echo chamber. It's not okay. Just because your friends say it's okay, it's not. Find someone to be your friend who disagrees with you, and you'll be a better person for it. And do you have anything to add? And where can they follow you before we get off the video?
Again, they can find me at www.lastcallcomics.com. I am beginning to open up my own personal Art of Varian Grant website. They'll be able to find that at WhenWeRiot.com. So WhenWeRiot.com. I'm on Twitter at kid_v. Instagram, you can find me everywhere. Facebook, Varian Grant. And send me a friend request. I'll accept you. And and if anybody wants to have any more questions or talk to me about whatever, I'll be happy to talk to anybody else about what happened and try to come up with ways that we can stop it from happening to anyone else, because I really don't want it to happen to anyone else, white, black, whatever nationality. I want everyone to be able to go to Comic-Con and feel safe and included.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time. Sorry to have put you through talking about this. I know it's emotionally draining. Thank you for the time. I know as creators we're busy. And thank you for everyone who showed up today to watch this program. And please keep the conversation going.